Are skyrocketing rent prices the result of a housing shortage, or is there something bigger going on behind the scenes? Now, this seems to be the question we really can't seem to get an answer to, but if there's one thing we can all probably agree on, it's the quote from the great philosopher Jimmy McMillan. You know what? Let me actually play it for you guys.
People are working 8 hours a day and 40 hours a week to some a third job. Once again, why? You said it, the rent is too damn high.
And we'll be back in 3, 2, 1. We gone. Welcome back, family, to another episode of the First Sip Podcast. I'm your host, Dekimbe Smith, and this week, as we sip on our black coffee, we are breaking down the latest lawsuit coming out from the Department of Justice, because this may just go ahead and shake up the entire rental market. So let's get into it. The DOJ is going after 6 major landlords here in the U.S. Greystar Real Estate Partners, Blackstone's LivCor, Camden Property Trust, Cushman & Wakefield, Pinnacle Property Management Services, and Willow Bridge Property Company. And now you might be scratching your head and saying, why are they going after them? Well, allegedly they started using software provided by this company called RealPage to coordinate and collude on their rental pricing strategy. Now, I'm going to dive into the details and, give you a little bit more about what's been going on with this. But this is something that's been really interesting to me because over the past couple of years, we've seen more and more of these large multi-unit properties that are being built all across the country, and rent prices continue to go up, and it doesn't seem like it's breaking. And yes, you might say like we are at a shortage for rentals, but at the same time, you would think there would be some easing of prices, in maybe different points of the season, maybe where things are starting to be a little bit slower. But nope, things continue to go up and up and up, and renters are definitely feeling it. So let's dive into some of the key points. Starting off with the collusion by algorithm. Now, apparently these landlords were going around sharing sensitive rental information, such as lease renewal dates, occupancy rates, the kind of rental strategies that they're going to be laying out into the next quarter, those kind of things with other big landlords in the area. So then that way they didn't have to worry about dropping their prices too low and losing out, while the other landlord down the road might be making a couple extra $100. Now, one example that stood out to me was where they said that Greystar supplied Camden with information not only about very recent renewal rates, but also its approach to pricing for the upcoming quarter, its acceptance of RealPage's pricing recommendations, use of concessions, and competitively sensitive information about occupancy. So these are all things that landlords take into consideration when it comes to setting their rent prices, because they're going to say, okay, maybe our occupancy rate is very low right now, so maybe we can give a little bit of a break when it comes to the amount of rent we're going to charge, how they're going to go about giving, like they said, certain concessions, whether that means maybe they're going to do a month free, special offers that they give to potential residents that are going to be moving in. But if you know information from the other landlords in the area, maybe that might make it a little bit easier for you to say, you know what, I know that person's price is going to be this, I know their price is going to be this, so we can go ahead and bump it by an extra $100, $150 because we know people are renting at that price and they will continue to rent at that price. So why give them a break? Now, of course, this creates massive impact because, like I said, these are major landlords here in the U.S. Collectively, they manage over 1.3 million units here in the country. So that's a serious footprint when we're talking about. We're not just talking about a couple hundred units or a couple thousand units in one state. So that's why we are now leading into the legal action that's being brought against them. Because if this is proven to be true, right now these are all allegations, but if it is proven to be true, then this could be a violation of the Sherman Antitrust Act. And this was something that was created back in the late 1800s to stop companies from basically working together to create a monopoly and cut out competition, right? We live in a country that wants to create fair and equal competition amongst businesses so everybody can have a viable opportunity at the market. And if people are doing these kind of things by, once again, colluding, it makes it harder for everybody. So they have this act set up so we can go after these types of things and shut it down before it gets too crazy. Now, one company that was named in the lawsuit earlier, Cortland Management Group, has already gone ahead and said, you know what, I'm going to start working with you guys. I'm not trying to deal with all this. We weren't trying to deal with any collusion. So let us know what information you need. We're going to open up the books and we're here to work with you. Don't lock us up. Don't charge us any crazy fines, right? But then you have other companies like Greystar who are saying, we didn't do anything wrong. We're using the software as it's supposed to be used. And if other companies also have this information, then that's not because of anything we did. That's just because they have the information. RealPage is managing our prices. They're managing our units and how we should go ahead and price these things going in the future. So why blame us, right? What were we supposed to do about it? And that's going to be the thing that's going to be unfolding, I guess, over the next couple of months, over the year, however long this is going to take. Because if there's one thing about these cases, they usually don't end within a couple of weeks or a couple of months. So it's going to be something that's going to be unfolding for a while. But one thing we do know is that if they do if these allegations do hold true, and we find out that these landlords have been colluding and that they can go ahead and shake this up and shut this whole system down, then that might go ahead and change the future of rental prices here in the country, especially at a time where we talk about affordability issues, housing shortage problems, and just people trying to figure out ways of just moving forward. So if something like this gets nipped in the bud early and they say, you know what, you got to figure out a new way to price your rentals, maybe we may see a break in some of these high rents across the country. Because like I said, like Jimmy McMillan said back in 2009, rent prices were too damn high back then, and they haven't eased up since then. I mean, a recent study came out into 2022 where they said over half of the renters in this country were paying more than 30% of their income towards rent. And the affordable spot is right under 30%, right? You don't want to be over that. But they were saying people are even pushing close to 50% of their income just on rent. And when you think about that, you start scratching your head and saying, well, how do I manage? How do I afford to do all these other things? How do I potentially move and buy a home, right? If my rent is already killing me on a monthly basis. So these are things that need to be explored. Questions need to be asked. So I'm happy that they are actually starting to look into these things and saying, okay, well, what's going on here? Why aren't these people getting any break? Why is the rent price continue to drive up through the roof? And maybe they'll come to find out that the housing shortage really is the issue. Maybe there is another solution out there that doesn't involve breaking up what these landlords have going on. Maybe they are doing things the correct way. Who knows? We'll see. Let me know what you think in the comments, because I'm going to be paying attention to this, and I'll keep bringing you guys the news, keeping you updated on what's going on in the housing market. If this is the information that you're interested in, go ahead and subscribe, because this is what I'm going to continue to do. So until next time, stay tuned, stay curious, and as always, enjoy your first sip.